Well, hello, friends. It has been a long minute since I have been able to make a video and share with you and be here. And I did put a little community post up when all of this began back at the beginning of August, but I don't know how many saw it, but I did have a few really nice comments on that post. So, anyhow, I'm back. I do not know how often I will be able to post going forward for a while here anyway. There's a whole lot of upheaval happening behind the scenes here. And, well, I'll get to the point where what happened to August? Where did August go? Well, as I have mentioned previously on my channel and some other videos, my parents are very elderly, 90 and 91. My father earlier this year was diagnosed with a malignant melanoma, a tumor in his sinus cavity, and prognosis wasn't good. They did attempt some treatments, some immunotherapy treatments, but they really had no effect. So the choice was made to discontinue treatments and for him to go into hospice care. This was right around the end of July, mid-end of July. And so he was still doing pretty well. He was getting out, doing his things, visiting mom, getting his chocolate fudge sundae from McDonald's every Sunday afternoon, pretty much all the things he'd been normally doing. But he was getting weaker and weaker. Fast forward, beginning of August, he had gone into hospice care, but he was doing at-home hospice. And his birthday was August 11th, and he turned 91. So I felt the need that I needed to get up there to be there for his birthday, see him. My days were his days and my days with him were numbered. My other siblings were all going to be there, and it was probably one of the most memorable days of my entire life. I think the only other events that have come even close to that were the birth of my two daughters. My dad has been a long time horse guy, Cowboy Bob. And for when we were young, when my sisters and I were younger, we rode horses in 4-H, and he was our 4-H horse leader. He was, all the things involved. And then as we grew up and moved away, he was part of the county sheriff's posse, which I don't know if that's a universal thing, but it's a thing in rural Michigan, at least in that part of the country, part of the state. And they had gone out on, search and rescue missions to find people, but their main duties were riding in parades, parking cars at the fairgrounds, and other kind of public service things. But he had, and then he also did trail riding. So anyway, horses were always a big part of his life. And the current members and some of the past members that he rode with, the younger guys, as he says, which means they're probably still in their 70s, and they heard from hospice the situation and that it was Bob's birthday. So they brought a horse to the house. We got Dad outside. In typical Dad fashion, he had been telling us for the days leading up to this, I think I can ride the 4-mile square. Now, if you're also not familiar with the rural Midwest, a lot of the farmland is divided up into 1-mile squares. So, and it's very flat and no impediments. So you have these 4-mile squares. We used to ride our horses around them. We used to ride our bikes around them. It's like a country block, but it's 4 miles, right? We were like, Dad, if we can even get you on the horse, But anyway, he was determined. And I'm going to share a little video that I put together from that day to show you what a determined, stubborn old man can do when he sets his heart to it.
Bob, we're putting your hat on.
That's back. Okay, so as you can see, that video was, it's not the full video, it was excerpts from the full day, but I made a longer video for friends and family, but it uses some copyright music. So if you want to imagine, you can go to Spotify and find George Strait's The Cowboy Rides Away and listen to that while you watch the video. And if you get through that and you don't cry, then I want whatever you're on. I'm just going to say that. Anyhow, I stayed for as long as I could. We did eventually 3 or 4 days after it. If you have ever gone through something like this, you know that time means nothing and dates and days of the week are irrelevant. Anyhow, Thursday of that week, we did move him down into residential hospice care. And then I stayed as long as I could through that weekend and what have you. And then I really needed to come back. And I drove. So my return trip always takes 2 days. In a way, it almost took me 3 because I went and stayed with a friend just in Michigan, closer to the highway. So in the morning, on my long drive to Nashville, I could get an earlier start, but it was still Nashville, overnight, and home. Anyway, I barely got home. Well, I spent a couple days in Nashville with my daughter, kind of to decompress. While with my daughter in the Nashville area, my future son-in-law
gave me a tattoo to honor my parents. It's pretty obvious that the horseshoe honors my father and the pansies honor my mother. And also, the meaning of pansies is thinking of you.
And also thinking I might have to turn right around and go back, but that didn't happen. So I got here, and then I did have to turn around and go back. My father passed away early morning hours of August 22nd. So I went back to Nashville, and my daughter and her boyfriend and I flew back to Michigan. My other daughter, we all were there for the ceremony. So that's where I was in August. I'm still processing everything, but I am so, and there's so much more to still do. um, Mom is still in memory care. She is not doing well. She has no concept that what day it is, what year it is, who people are. Some days she does, some days she doesn't. If you've been through dementia with a loved one, you know what I'm talking about. You're familiar with that. And so we're probably going to have to repeat this process again in the not too distant future. But I was there for that birthday, and it was magical. I don't think I have a better word for it. And his funeral was amazing. Not very many 91-year-olds' funerals do they fill the building and have to get out more chairs. I guarantee there wasn't anybody older than him in that at that service, but there were a lot of people much younger than him, and it just spoke to the influence and effect and life he lived. I knew I wouldn't get through this video without crying, but so here we are. All right, I'm gonna gather myself together, and I want to share a couple things. We have not, my sister and brother who are local have started the process of cleaning out the house and the farm and things, but you better believe that it's more than a weekend or two job. It's going to be a long process, and I'm going to need to get up there again to do that. But what we did do the day after the service, the funeral service, is all of us kids and our kids, grandkids, well, not all the grandkids, my kids, my nephew, the ones that were still around town, met back at the farm and just kind of had an opportunity to reminisce and tell stories and sit in the garage. And if there was one item or items that we really wanted to take as a memento, since we were all there together, we could all agree, yes, it's okay if you take that thing. Yes, I'm gonna. And most of it was like little tchotchke kind of silly things that made us giggle, like the weird, I wish I had a picture of it, the weird pig mirror. It was something right out of Amityville Horror. But my dad used to be a pig farmer way back, one of his many careers. So there were a lot of little pig related things. But literally, this was a pig, like this, the front half of the face of a pig with its mouth open and a mirror inside its mouth. I mean, come on. But anyway, I didn't take that one. One of my sisters found that first, claimed that first. But anyway, I want to share with you two things that I did bring home with me. First of all, this quilted wall hanging. I'll bring it in a little closer. You can see the detail, perhaps. And this, I made this for Dad for Father's Day or his birthday or Christmas, or I don't even know. And of course, I'm a terrible artist. Don't do this. Put your name, put the date you made it, maybe put a little, some kind of label on the back of all of your pieces. But I did not do that. Anyway, I made this for Dad, and it hung by his desk for a long time, and then it hung in the hallway outside his bathroom, and where he would pass it every day. and he used to have a horse named Cinnamon, and this looked like Cinnamon to me. So this was a fun project. I've made other things similar to this, but it's been a long time. So I wanted to have this back, and I actually just took it down off the wall in my hallway because I wanted it where I could see it every day. So there's that. Then the other thing, I'm not sure how I'm going to get this on camera. I may have to like insert some B-roll of this. So I think in another quilt that I showed when I was doing like my quilt show, my opening of all my quilts and everything, I told how probably it's the early 2000s. I used to go to a couple Midwestern antique stores out in the country in rural Illinois and find a sneak peek there. Find unfinished or finished quilt tops, unquilted quilt tops, antique, and buy them to rescue them. And my mom, who was a fantastic hand quilter and had a big frame in the living room that she could put big quilts on, she hand quilted a few of them for me because at that point she really didn't have the time or what have you to do all the quilt making of the quilt tops and the piecing of the quilt tops. But in the winter time when they did a summer thing, again, I'm not gonna get it. They had a business that they did during the summers. So the winters, they weren't on the road, if you will. So she would be able to sit and hand quilt. And I think she was one of those quilters that preferred that part of the process more than the piecing and the making of the tops. Not that she hasn't made some beautiful quilts in her life, but you know, we all have our thing that is the part of the process we like the best. So hand quilting was her thing. Well, I found this quilt top, again, 25 years ago. I'm not exactly sure. And I remember one time, probably a decade ago, asking about it. She's like, oh, I got to a point that I'm almost done. I just haven't had time to finish. And she had to take it off the frame for something. And then another time after that, I inquired about it. Not like, Mom, where's my quilt? But I had been visiting and I knew where she'd always just put it and it wasn't there. So, anyway, long story short, it kind of had gone missing, at least from my perspective. Like when I was there back in April, I stayed at the house and I was like, I can find all these other quilts and I can't find that quilt. I wonder what happened to it. Well, my sister saw it and she told me where it was. So I will show it to you. And again, I'll probably put some B-roll in here, but if I don't, here. It is this gorgeous Dresden plate quilt. And they are vintage, antique fabrics. Like my absolute favorite fabrics of all quilt fabrics. I don't know if the Dresden plates were hand stitched together. I haven't, let's see, what can we find out here? I almost think they are. I almost think, yes. So each of these plates was hand stitched together. And then there are the little fan segments along the borders. But I need to get, and again, I may do this on B-roll with better lighting, but I also do want to try to show you the detail. I'm not going to be able to get that here, of my mom's hand quilting. It is just, it's about as perfect as you can get, in my opinion. I may be slightly biased, but here's the deal. There are 1, 2, 3, and then 2 halves of the blocks. the quilting around the Dresden plates themselves. And there might have been another one on the other end that all need to be finished quilting. And then the border, I think she's only got a small bit of the border started. And I think this was one thing that she shared with me at one time many years ago, that she wasn't really happy with how she started quilting the border, and she was trying to decide if she needed to unpick it and do it a different way. I will not be unpicking any of her stitching. And so I have a lot of hand quilting in my future, and I am not, oh yes, see, there is another one in this next row down. So there are at least, oh, there's one. What in the heck? Yeah, there's, I think at one time when I had it laid on the bed, there's close to 5 big blocks that need quilting. So anyway, I am not the kind of quilter that my mother was, but I'm going to do my damnedest. And I think when I'm done, I am going to make a label for this quilt with its kind of explaining its provenance, that it was found in the early 2000s in an antique store in Savannah, Illinois. It was partially hand quilted by Doris Wood in Marlette, Michigan. I probably shouldn't be putting out all this information on the internets. And finished by her daughter in Selma, Alabama in 2025. And that's what's going to happen with this quilt. I also have laid it out on my bed and decided that it's going to be my summer quilt, and I've got to get it done by next summer because it's so soft. It is just, it's beautiful, and it is everything about old quilts that I love. And it's never been used on a bed because it's never been finished. And the fact that it just has so much love and so much history and so much everything to it, that it's going to be a treasure. I don't know if I have anything else to share with you right now. I have another thing. I'm going to give a sneak peek because I've been trying to work on this project all summer and trying to share it with you. And you know, life and death has been happening. But this is my sunflower quilt, my English paper piecing, and it's just my little sneak peek of that. And then, so I'm at the point with this right now which I'll share in the video dedicated to it, but the next step on this project is to make the centers of all the sunflowers, and I didn't have any brown fabric. So yesterday, which of course I did dye some brown fabric, so today I'm going to cut circles and templates and sit and start that and maybe make a couple videos. So that will be in a future video. Oh, wait, there's more. In addition to this lost month of August, at least lost to my usual routine, but always will be in my heart, never to be lost. Anyway, I'm not sure what the future of my YouTube group, my YouTube channel will be. It's going to go one of two ways. But also during this summer, some pretty major events have happened, not necessarily directly in my life, but they directly affect my life That's all I'm going to say about it. But there is a strong, not even potential, it's gonna have to happen, that I'm going to have to make some big changes to my routine, to my employment status, things like that. Basically, my financial situation has gone to from, all right, I'm getting by and I'm doing what I need to do, to zero, practically overnight. So, I have to figure out what to do. And that probably will be to, instead of the very flexible and eclectic means of earning a living that I have enjoyed for the last few years, of working here and working there and doing artistic and creative things, and a little bit from YouTube and a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and making it do. That's not going to suffice probably anymore. So I either have to go all in on YouTube and get much better, more consistent, and perhaps start a Patreon account kind of thing, and see if I can make up some differences there. I would love to do that. I would love to really do that. Or probably the more conservative and logical thing to do would be to get out there and try to find a full-time job. One with benefits would be great. However, in today's job market, the fact that, my employment history has been spotty, my work history has been very consistent and everything, and I live in an area where there's not a lot of job opportunities, but I am exploring some things. I have some irons in the fire. I have some options. I have some potentiality, and I trust myself to rise above this situation that has been thrust upon me, no fault of my own, but yet I'm taking responsibility for myself and doing what I have to do. So that's that. And I have some ideas if life doesn't take another kaplooey on me. See, this is why I haven't done this in the past, is because these things keep coming up for me that I have to drop everything and go or deal with, that I think I owe it to my audience and any patrons, if I were to have a Patreon account, to deliver on my promises. And so through Patreon, extra videos, behind the scenes, more tutorials, whatever, special members only kind of stuff. And if I don't even have the ability and opportunity and time to do regular YouTube videos, then am I setting myself up for failure and disappointment from those who want to support me? So I'm still mulling that over. I have some ideas of ways to overcome that and to, make it work, and some gifts and special things that I can offer to future potential patrons. So watch for that, I guess, if that's a way you would like to support me. But in the meantime, how you can really support me for right now is to like, subscribe, share, all the things that you can do to help people find me in the algorithm on YouTube. And literally right now I'm making about $20 to $30 a month through YouTube since March, when I got monetized. And that might seem like nothing, but in the circumstance I am at right now, even $30 a month is going to count for something. So that's where we're at. I will not, that is the closest to begging that I'm ever going to hopefully get to during this situation. I'm just going to put my nose to the grindstone, if you will, and do what needs to get done, because that's what we women do. And I'm gonna survive this. Yeah. And at some point, okay, here come the tears again. And at some point, I will have the space and opportunity to truly grieve and mourn the loss of my father. But in the meantime, I have to keep on keeping on and try to live the life that I know he would be proud of, and the kind of life that when my day is done, people will come and tell my family and my friends and my loved ones all the great things that were shared with us during those last days with my dad and at his funeral. So, sorry for making this a weep fest. Actually, no, I'm not. That's another thing I gotta learn. Don't apologize for your tears. Feel them, let them out. So, anyway, peace out. Love you lots. Take care of yourself. And watch out for deer.